Brian, Kagoro, there are a number of questions to you, and of course, can you sum up as well? Brian, Kagoro.
I'm trying to unmute myself. Thank you, Dr. Mandaza. Just as Tuli has said, the subtle difference between South Africa and Zimbabwe is that the president of South Africa is elected by the National Assembly, but there's a requirement in South African law that such a president must show that they have the support of the majority of parliamentarians. When the party which is the majority in parliament through its NAC recalls a president, it doesn't necessarily mean that they cease to be president. There still needs to be that parliamentary process. Our president is not elected by the parliament. So I think Julie has explained that. If you ask me what the way forward is, I think we are so skilled, or rather we've been playing in what I characterize, Dr. Mandaza, as the Premier League of pettiness. A lot of what's happening with these recalls is childish, petty politics, vindictiveness, and it really doesn't matter when this festival of illegality started. And this is not a political beauty pageant. We're not in a political beauty pageantry to determine whether the Monzora faction, the Chamisa faction, or so and so, which one is correct. No, we're simply saying the country requires a law on the recall of MPs that will set out the procedures for recalling MPs and the requirements that each political party must satisfy when it purports to recall MPs. That's number one. Number two, I think for my colleagues within the opposition, this bloodletting, this hanging on to little technical legal niceties is not what the country requires. If we are going to have political parties play a developmental role in Zimbabwe, it is important that those political parties be developed, be mature in process and in approach, and not consume time in a country where 7.5 million people are facing hunger and the entire population is facing COVID-19 on these little games of decapitating the capacity for effective representation during the time of COVID. It would appear to me that if you want a commission of inquiry into how Chamisa became president of the MDC and whether this recalls, well, go and have that. But when the people voted, they were not mistaken about who they wanted to be a member of parliament. So if you're going to remove that member of parliament, you cannot impose another person without going back to the people, right? Or at least complying with some of these internal requirements that I have said. That said, Dr. Mandaza, I think you brought us here to discuss principles. And the principles are something has gone fundamentally wrong with our politics. National interest is often sacrificed by clever arguments to win, to consolidate, to conquer political power. And I really don't care at this moment. My brother Monzora and others know my position on this, that in the absence of dialogue within the opposition itself, in the absence of dialogue across all political parties on constructing an effective response by a united way of grown men playing dolly house. And it is sad, grown men and grown women playing dolly house. And we just need to get out of this nonsense and focus on the importance of the business before us. Nobody owes Zimbabwe a living. No one owes us a meal. If we're to fix our country, let's start off by dealing with things that are important and serious. And constitutionalism is no joking matter of point scoring.
Thanks, Brian.